Welcome to the final episode of our cross-country journey here in the Mustang. This car has made it so much further than I was really thinking it would. And now I think we can make it back, which is a bold statement since I am still in California.
Before we continue, if you enjoy car reviews and content on all sorts of vehicles, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications. This video will get a small fraction of the attention that my reviews will, so if you really enjoy it, don't be afraid to share it to your enthusiast friends. Thank you.
While California has been great, it's not my final destination. We still need to get this thing back to Indiana, but instead of taking a ton of detours along the way like I have been so far, we're pretty much just gonna stick to the route this time. So we're going to Vegas and we're going back to Denver. We're gonna see if we can do a full day of driving. It'll be about 17 hours straight from Denver back to Indiana. I don't know if I will survive that, and I'm not sure the Mustang will either. It's definitely heating up in the cabin. My hair is all messed up because I've had the windows open for the past couple of hours as I was getting out of Los Angeles.
Thanks to part of the AC compressor falling off back in episode 2. Life without AC has been okay so far, but as I made my way closer to Sin City, sporadic traffic had me sweating. After getting through some of it, I saw a road sign for a ghost town, so I thought, oh, that sounds a little spooky. I got a little time to kill before Vegas, so why not? And as I got closer, I recognized the name, Calico. I'd heard of this place, but something was off. If it's a ghost town, why would it be advertised? I guess I had envisioned it as an old abandoned western town with tumbleweeds and old buildings that looked one plus-size bird away from crumbling. In reality, it was more like a state park with little tourist shops and such. But it was a mining town at one point. Unfortunately, I failed to read the room and drove through the town, which seemed okay at first, but then it got narrow and I could feel the glares of those around me. So I just acted like I knew what I was doing as my Mustang with Indiana plates loudly putters through the park. After finding the backlot, I leave the Mustang and walk through the town and admire the buildings. Most of them look like they were built in the last 50 years since the town was made an official park around the late 60s. Some things did look original and it was neat to feel the authentic vibes of Calico, but eventually I came to a mine that required cash to enter, and since I had places to be, I left. I took a drive through the desert to let the Mustang stretch her 90s legs. Most of the time, this thing sticks out, whether that's for its exotic looks, glorious sound, or tasteful modifications. The Mustang rarely feels like it belongs, except for here. The rough and loud V8 can sing as loud as it wants as the car picks up speed at a barely adequate rate, and the open road means less obstacles to crash into. Jokes aside, a pony car is in its element in a place like this. After pulling back onto the highway, the scenery dulls, but I eventually come across a ton of solar panels. Turns out, Las Vegas grabs a lot of power from renewable resources that aren't just hydroelectric, with casinos like MGM bringing 323,000 solar panels to life, which make enough electricity to power 27,000 homes, or 90% of their daytime operations in their 13 Vegas casinos. After the shady $50 last-minute hotel in Reno, I made $75 reservations in Vegas this morning.
All right, so I am currently in the hotel in a little rocking chair, and it is so much nicer. On a different plane. I'm on the 23rd floor here with my king-size bed. I mean, considering the last one was $55 and I don't get a free breakfast, you know, there's a gym here. The casino is actually located in here. It's the Downtown Grand. It's a much, much larger place, and there's a pool. I might actually just go to the pool for a little bit. Got some time here. Just gonna relax because the next few days are going to be hellish. 13 hours to Colorado, 17 from Colorado to my place. That's gonna be rough. Very rough. So I'm gonna enjoy this, and I gotta learn how to play poker. I downloaded the poker app, so we're gonna try that. Hit me. I'm gonna try to go down the strip later tonight, so hopefully that'll look cool.
After a brief workout nap, I went in search of a quaint restaurant. Once in the established eatery located within a casino that reeked of smoke, I enjoyed a $13 footlong. Following my early dinner, I walked around the city and was a little shocked. Las Vegas is dead midweek.
So far from what I've seen with Las Vegas, it's actually a pretty interesting place because when people say, oh, the city doesn't sleep, part of it doesn't sleep. I mean, there was like nobody out where I was, and that was at like 6:45 p.m. I mean, it's not super late. Granted, it is a Wednesday, but like everything else over here is, you know, popping. Although one thing that is not deceiving and completely true is that it is incredibly easy to get married in Las Vegas. Not only can you do it very quick, but there is many places to get it done. Because a quick marriage should really be held at the same level of sketchiness as gambling, drinking, partying, and prostitution. Or I guess just all of the other things that Vegas is known for.
But I think they're onto something here. Spending tens of thousands of dollars to make your relationship official in a grand manner shouldn't be the norm. This is also coming from a person that will blow 17 grand on a 13-year-old Tacoma and then drive a pseudo drift car across the country.
One thing that I never really understood was, and maybe I haven't understood it, I definitely don't understand it because I've not really gambled. If you enjoy doing that kind of thing, like, you know, having some skin in the game there to make something fun, I get it.
But I never understood why people got into the mindset that they will beat the system.
They're making money off of you. All this flashy stuff here. Oh my gosh. Wow. All this flashy stuff here is gonna cost something. I mean, I'll have to get some cooler shots on the way back, but there's Caesar's Palace. That is giant. Also, it's pretty annoying that like there's so much music and everything like going on, and then you decide to also have a Bluetooth speaker playing your own music while you're walking in a very crowded place. I'm mainly annoyed by this because I hope that YouTube's algorithm doesn't pick it up and give me a copyright strike. But I'm also annoyed by this because it's just irritating. Wow. This is a hazard at night. So many like flashing bright lights that I feel like it'd be very easy to just get rear-ended out here because someone's not paying attention. And so I'm gonna try desperately to not be that person. Not so much because of damage to the car. I don't think that's gonna get any worse. And not even so much because of the money that I would have to pay. Just the sheer embarrassment. This is actually very cool at night. I'm gonna definitely have to stop and just take some videos for you guys because this is just so fucking cool. And there's a tower up there, and that tower actually has a roller coaster, like a little tiny amusement park, thrill park of sorts at the top of it. Ooh. Oh, God. Whoa. They might want to take some funds out for the roads, though. Ooh, Tacos El Gordo. And then just tacos the fat. The fat tacos? No, that doesn't make any sense. There's a restaurant in the Indianapolis area, it might be elsewhere too, called Buca di Beppo, and my girlfriend's Italian. Shout out to Kiara, awesome woman. And I guess it's a trend to just have like kind of poorly translated restaurant names, but Buca di Beppo translates to Buco's hole.
But I'm sure there's a cultural difference for Tacos El Gordo to be named the way it is. And my God, the tacos there are phenomenal. Taco restaurants in the Southwest are more common than college students with LED strip lighting in their room. But Tacos El Gordo provides excellent food, a hectic ordering experience paired with the feeling that you should really practice your Spanish to make for a truly authentic meal. Plus, there was live music too from someone way more talented than warranted for playing at a taco joint. I walked the strip afterward to capture all of my insert shots, and it was beautiful at night. Up close, all of the buildings are massive. The extravagant high-end stores get you into a buying mindset, and the lights constantly grab your attention. Upon returning to the resort and practicing poker on my phone, I promptly lose about $80 playing poker and decide that I've taken enough financial abuse from this trip. Sleeping at the downtown Grand would be just that if the old Vegas Strip or Fremont Street weren't so close. Once again, my exhaustion meant slumber was an easy task. The next day, I woke up to a beautiful sunrise with an awesome view and ate the complimentary breakfast for two. Now I'm shooting for Boulder, Colorado once again. Once out of Vegas, the desert does its thing, which is to be hot and unpredictable. It gets boring, and then you get whacked over the head with some really cool rocks. The Old West does not feel like an inviting place to settle down, but it seems like an easy place to drive. As I travel further, I briefly head into Arizona on the way to Utah, where canyons begin to appear.
Here we are in Utah again. So we've driven about 5 hours, and we got 7 hours left. That's a lot of heat for a long time, and I've been trying to do at least 70, 75 because right now it puts me in just before midnight in Colorado. So I just booked a hotel again because I was trying to find campgrounds, and it's a little tricky, and I know that there's dispersed camping on the side of the road in a lot of places, but I kind of just don't want to deal with that. I am numb to the financial predicament that I'm putting myself into. What's another $70 to make sure that I'm comfortable? It's been a pretty relaxing drive. Our temperature outside has dropped substantially since I think we're around 6,000 or 7,000 feet right now. This seat cushion that I bought is starting to kind of just mat down and not really do all that much. I mean, I've been just kind of like shifting myself and like moving my back like this. And really that's actually how I've been driving the whole time. Now, as I'm trying to basically do a Mustang cannonball run, let's talk about realistically replacing your daily driver with a car like this. I am more than impressed. I mean, you've probably gathered this, that with how well the Mustang has handled this trip. But if we're trying to come to conclusions here, should you ditch your daily for one? I think this has taught me an entirely different lesson. Like, obviously, you shouldn't ditch your daily for a car like this. But my main reason is not what I was originally anticipating. I was originally thinking it was for reliability purposes, comfort purposes, practicality purposes, but it turns out that the Mustang is pretty cheap to run and practical enough for most people. And I mean, it's gotten me to campsites and all across the country. So it's not so much what it can do that's the issue, it's more so the safety. With how large cars are right now and how many trucks there are, daily driving a vehicle without even side curtain airbags or ABS in this case is not a wise idea, especially if you're carrying around more people than just you. It's kind of why I really don't try to take very many people in this, because if something happens, I mean, obviously I'm not too scared to drive the Mustang, but if something happens and someone else is in the car, you know, I can't trust this thing to protect them. Now, if you have no regard for your own safety and you're not really taking anybody else on trips with you for the most part, this is a pretty reasonable alternative. But this isn't what I'm really trying to get at. What I'm trying to get at is that I see all these cars coming out, like the Toyota 86 or the GR Corolla, hell, even the Miata. I mean, I see these cars that are really fun, but I've almost convinced myself that, like, I can't daily anything like that. I can't buy that and drive that every day because it's just not going to be practical enough. But I was dead f***ing wrong. And honestly, it's kind of made me lean towards not wanting a new truck. It feels like I've opened the door to, I mean, so many possibilities here. Because for the money of a new Tacoma, you can buy a lot of cars that are much more fun. Now, granted, you won't be able to take them off-road. I haven't taken this off-road. But I've seen some amazing places and done some really fun things with this old girl by my side. So it kind of tells me I don't really need that to explore and adventure. I know there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to disagree with me on that. And I'm sure you can take, you know, those off-road vehicles to, completely different place. But I kind of like hiking too. Now, does this mean that I'm going to sell my Tacoma? If YouTube does a little bit better, I just might. Anyway, that doesn't mean that when I get back, we're going to be smooth sailing on the Mustang. I got to fix the AC. I got to fix whatever's up with the clutch. And there's still well over 1,000 miles for something else to pop up. Another thing that would probably hold me back from selling the Tacoma is that I still want to drift this. And whenever you drift anything, or really track a vehicle, you really risk catastrophic failure constantly.
That's not me saying that tracking cars makes them a ticking time bomb. This series has proved that wrong so far, but it can and will add some drama into the mix. The day rolls on smoothly as I listen to various albums, new and old. I run by some sick canyons as the night quickly reaches me as I enter the Colorado mountains. From there, it begins to get quite dicey. I take numerous blind corners at high speed. I'm beginning to wish I really upgraded my headlights now. Random wet patches present themselves with snow covering either side of the road as I creep in and out of higher elevations. The firm suspension and quick steering on the modified Mustang make me feel in control, to the point where I'm not really slowing down unless I come across a break in the pavement. There are various tunnels, and at oftentimes the other side of the highway is distant to me. It feels like a fever dream as I can tell my scenery has drastically changed, but I can't see it. It doesn't help that the big highway feels more like a ghost town than Calico. Oh! The vibration from the pop made it through my seat. I stick my hand behind the seat to see if something exploded from the pressure change, yet I don't feel anything, leading me to believe it came from the rear suspension, but I later couldn't find any issues there either. Without a safe place to pull over, I press on. My batteries die, but I make it to the city not too long thereafter. I get to the hotel around 11:30 p.m., shower, and unwind a little, but can I give you some advice? Do not stay at any hotel next to a Waffle House. The room was good, but the experience was something I was not prepared for. One room next to me has their TV running a marathon on the mother of all late-night TV shows, George Lopez. The other room next to me has a couple loudly accosting one another with heinous language. As a warning, things get out of hand and some may be sensitive to what I'm about to play. The couple simmers down and I fall asleep around 1:30. I wake up at 3. My headboard is shaking from the furniture next door being tossed with the couple violently yelling again. Honestly, I feel like I'm still dreaming, but the very real domestic violence persists, so I get ready to intervene. I put on my jeans and start recording on my phone so I have my side of the story if needed. In a few seconds, their door flies open.
I will, because you f***ing attacked me. I did not.
They both sound shaken up as the man leaves. Now it's just the woman crying alone. I lie in the darkness as my mind goes down several paths for hours. Assuming you love your partner, they have the potential to do serious, long-lasting mental damage on top of the physical. What just happened could have been a traumatic event that sticks with her for life, or it could have just been another night. I hope they stay apart, and this is going to honestly be more personal than I'd usually get in a video, but hardly anyone watches this type of content, so I'll go a little further. The way they were arguing verbally affected me in an unexpected manner. It brought up wounds dealt on me by someone I loved deeply in the past. I think often one party is the aggressor, but eventually that toxicity seeps out and you become your worst self around them too. I left that situation, but whether it's a friend or a partner, that can feel like losing a family member. Like if they just didn't do this or that thing, we could be perfect. It causes a cycle, and whether you cut them out or not, pain is the result. The difference is that one type of pain derives from memories, while the other is constant and can be fueled by things like resentment or fear. The stranger sobbing on the other side of the wall was an aching, vivid reminder of this. The following morning, I go to Starbucks and get as much espresso as I can handle while I record and edit the trailer for this series. I hiked a little, topped off the oil, and met back up with Van from episode 2, and her roommates and I got a drink at a neat bar in the Denver area. I wake up the next day to upload the trailer and start the longest leg of my trip.
So I'm leaving Westminster, Colorado right now. We're about 16 hours away. I've been driving for 30 minutes already. This is going to be the last torture test, and more so a test on me. I did notice the past couple hundred miles that the control arms have definitely gotten a little bit more noisy up front. At least I think it's that. The issue is that they're new, so it could be improper installation or defective bushings or something like that. It's kind of more of a clunk than a pop. We are going to bomb this 80 miles per hour at least. Right? Actually, I should probably slow down because you probably can't hear me too well. I've learned that about 2,500 RPMs in this was 83 miles per hour one, but also it's when I can't hear if the turning signal's on. So I feel like an old man. 5:18 a.m. is what the current ETA is, and I'm going to work my best to knock that down as far as I can. And we got over 1,000 miles to go. So, and I'm not going to take long pit stops. In fact, I think by the end of this, NASCAR is going to want to hire me for how quick I'm going to do everything. But since I'm just kind of flat out as fast as possible here, we're really just going to document the deterioration of my mind. I'm running on about 6 hours of couch sleep interrupted by a very cute cat, but a cat, one that was indeed in full goblin mode, but still big thanks to Van and her roommates for letting me stay at her place. It's been a great vacation, and I am so happy to have seen all the people that I've seen. So yeah, let's get to it.
The scenery from the last leg is no more. East of the Rockies, things get quite mundane. To keep myself entertained, I listen to some music suggested by Instagram followers and focus in on going as fast as possible without getting caught. My strategy is simple. Be the second fastest car on the road and try to watch your speed when going over a hill.
All right, I am 9 hours away now. For some reason, it's really smoky. I'm not sure if there's some sort of wildfire going on right now, but I'm in the middle of Kansas. I was making really good time, but I had to fill up at one point, and then like 2 pumps were down, and so I had to drive to a different gas station. I'm definitely getting a lot worse gas mileage on this tank, mainly because I was doing like closer to 90 for a lot of it, if I'm being completely honest. My ETA has still dropped overall, and we're rated to 5:03 a.m. right now, but I am going to have to fill up 2 more times, and I feel like I'm going to get a hernia or something in this seat. It's starting to really wear on me. Oh wow, yeah, that's all charred. I guess they must have had some sort of plane fire?
In fact, it was a wildfire, something relatively common to Kansas and especially Oklahoma. According to the Topeka Capital Journal, the especially dry conditions and high wind has made this fire season gnarly this year. And when you consider that Kansas rural fire departments are working with less firefighters than they had in the 80s, while calls have tripled, it makes for a hard to control situation. The Mustang stays cool amidst the fire and chugs along at near Ultima levels of speed.
All right, so we're still about 7.5 hours out. However, I take back any shade that I've ever thrown to Google Maps because it just completely saved my ass. Just like Waze, they put into Google Maps an ability to like report police. That's a baller move. And I was going up over a hill and someone had passed me doing like 95, and I was cruising around 85, and I was like, I might, just kind of tail behind them. I was keeping up with them, and just before I went over a hill, I got it like interrupts whatever you're doing to tell you like, hey, there's a speed trap ahead. And I slowed down, and sure enough, there was a speed trap, and sure enough, the person that was ahead of me got pulled over. So if I was, cruising behind them, it definitely could have been me who ended up getting the short end of the stick. So thanks, Google. Now we are pretty much out of daylight here, so eventually this graininess is going to turn into nothingness. It is about 9 o'clock in the time zone that I'm heading to. I have my GPS set to a gas station and 38 miles from here, and we are entering the very ambiguous danger zone of the gas gauge here, so I'm hoping that doesn't bite me in the ass.
As the night carries on, I top off the tank again and slow down to 5 or so over the speed limit as visibility worsens and my fear of being ticketed or pulled over grows. After all, I'm driving the official car of narcotics possession. Giving cops any reason to pull me over would be unwise.
Sorry, this lighting kind of makes me look like a serial killer, so I'm going to apologize, but the Mustang and I just rolled back into Bloomington, and I'm only around 10 minutes away from my house. It's it's very surreal. Honestly, there were a lot of points in this journey where I felt like I had no control, especially in Colorado when the AC stopped working and I noticed the input shaft or something there making noise, and I mean that could have just been it. And taking it into the desert, it could have been so bad. Yeah, we got a few more noises and a few more vibrations, but shit, this thing has literally been driving for 15 and a half hours today. Wherever your brand loyalties lie, this is kind of ridiculous. It wasn't like I was easy on the thing. Just now, 80, 85 pretty much the whole time. And that was just today. I was hauling ass through canyons, doing drag races, taking it on salt flats. I mean, like, we did it all. And this guy is literally trying to get rear-ended right now. Like, just... that would actually be completely hilarious. Okay, it wouldn't be hilarious. In my delusional 4:30 a.m. mind, it would be hilarious that I make it to Bloomington and then rear-end somebody and total the car. But I really wanted to challenge, and it was. This has been an awesome journey. Not only did I learn about the car, I was also reintroduced to the idea that there is so much more out there. Like, and I just barely scraped the surface of, you know, what's out here in just the United States. This is one country. And you can do all of this in your track car. Originally, I was just kind of expecting this to fail miserably at every single challenge. And in some of them, yeah, it didn't do too well. But overall, this specific car has done a great job at, one, proving that this platform is actually a pretty decent one, but also at proving that, you know, you don't need the most practical car out there on paper in order to get a lot of shit done. Should you ever consider driving this thing daily? I mean, I still stand by that, you know, this thing is just not safe, and you really shouldn't replace your daily driver with this, especially if you're driving around other people a lot. But could it? Yeah. And that opens the door up to so many other options in terms of cars. Oh, man, I really can't believe it. I'm hearing birds right now. We're rolling in this early. This is insane. I remember leaving and I was thinking, where is it gonna break? When is it gonna break? I made sure that I had enough money that I could ship it back to my place from pretty much anywhere in the country. But, you know, that would really still do some damage, and I'd probably have to go back to a full-time job. Here it is. A little noisier than it was before, a little more scarred, but she made it back. God, this is a special car. Does she still need some sorting out? Yep. Well, that's gonna do it for the series. Thank you for watching so much. I would really love to do something like this again, but honestly, deep down, and this could be different. I'm hoping that it's different because I'm filming this before I've dropped any episode other than the trailer. But I just feel like this might not get any views. And I got a lot back in the vacation. Like, I'm not complaining. It's one of those things where I think the series itself is just gonna mean a lot more to me personally than it will in terms of my, you know, finances. It's not gonna pay back itself. YouTube just never pushes content for me that's not reviews. It's been great. It's been awesome. Thanks for sticking around. Also, just because I now thought of it, these videos will probably be up forever because I don't see YouTube ever going out of business. So if someday I actually have kids and you're watching this, don't do what I just did. Do not do this. This was not smart. I could have died on a couple occasions. And really at any moment. Don't do this. Okay.